The void stretched endlessly, a dark canvas punctuated by distant stars and the faint glimmer of abandoned worlds. Across light years, an alien distress signal echoed, a cry for help that had traveled unseen through the cold emptiness. The species sending it had hoped for aid, not knowing what that aid would unleash. Humanity answered, not with diplomats or envoys, but with its deadliest fleet, born from the crucible of Earth's harshest deathworlds, a testament to survival forged in fire, ice, and endless adversity. From the edges of the system, ships appeared, emerging from warp with silent authority. Hulls were jagged and angular, bristling with weaponry, engines humming with energy that could carve through a star's corona. Smaller vessels danced between colossal dreadnoughts, weaving formations that seemed chaotic to the untrained eye but flowed with lethal precision. Every ship, every crew, every pulse of energy moved in unison, as though the fleet itself were a single, thinking organism. The aliens who had summoned them watched in awe and terror. Their distress call had been intended as a beacon of hope, a simple summoning of aid from a species they thought long gone. Instead, it drew predators, tacticians, and masters of survival. Humanity had left myths behind. What had arrived was reality, unstoppable and uncompromising. The first volley of energy emerged from the fleet, not in fury, but in calculation. Shields of the alien ships flared under precise fire, engines faltering as beam after beam found weaknesses no intelligence had predicted. Every strike was deliberate, exacting, teaching a lesson. Survival was not chance, it was earned, enforced, and perfected. Commander Hale observed from the flagship, calm and measured, eyes tracing vectors and trajectories, hands moving over controls with effortless precision. The crew operated as extensions of his mind, each instinct sharpened by centuries of hardship, every decision flowing seamlessly into the next. Humanity did not act hastily. Humanity dictated inevitability. The alien fleet scrambled, realizing far too late that their aid had summoned a force beyond comprehension. Their ships, built for conquest and defense, faltered against tactics that anticipated every move, every retreat, every desperate maneuver. Humanity had survived worlds designed to destroy them, they had thrived on the harshest planets, faced the deadliest predators, and endured horrors no civilization had ever imagined. Now, that experience was being applied across the void in a single, coordinated assertion of dominance. Orbital platforms and hidden stations stirred as well, deploying new vessels and drones into the fleet. The Deathworlder ships were not merely weapons, they were symbols of human ingenuity, adaptability, and unyielding will. The aliens had called for help, they would receive protection. Yes, but at a price measured in awe, terror, and the stark realization that humanity was no ordinary ally. The void held its breath. Humanity had arrived, and every star, every ship, every signal now bore witness. A species forged in survival had answered a call, and the galaxy would never underestimate them again. The human fleet advanced with quiet, unstoppable authority, engines thrumming like a living heartbeat across the void. Interceptors and frigates darted between colossal dreadnoughts, weaving formations that seemed chaotic, yet each movement flowed with lethal precision. Alien fleets scrambled, their once assured formations splintering under the weight of anticipation and strategy they could not comprehend. Energy pulses flared across the emptiness as the aliens tested the humans' defenses. Shields rippled and absorbed each strike, redirecting plasma arcs into vulnerable points. Ships that had inspired fear now shuddered, crippled by attacks that arrived before they could react. The Galactic Throne's commanders faltered, realizing that their prey was not reacting, they were controlling. Humanity had returned not merely to survive, but to dictate the battlefield itself. From the flagship, Commander Hale's gaze swept over the holographic tactical displays. Crew moved with uncanny precision, adjusting energy flows, redirecting power, and calculating maneuvers that seemed impossible. Each human ship acted independently. Yet all were united in purpose, a single organism made of steel, energy, and willpower. They were no longer a fleet, they were inevitability manifested. Bombers surged forward, weaving between drifting debris and residual energy arcs, releasing ordnance with surgical accuracy. Dreadnoughts fired synchronized volleys, tearing through alien shields, engines, and weapon arrays with methodical grace. No attack was wasted, no movement random. Humanity did not destroy, it enforced survival, precision guiding every strike, control shaping every moment of combat. Orbital construction vessels emerged, releasing partially built warships into formation. Drones swarmed over hulls, assembling, reinforcing, and activating systems mid-space. Even incomplete, these vessels radiated strength, reminding the galaxy that human ingenuity was inexhaustible and there were eternal. Alien commanders attempted flanking maneuvers, retreating volleys, and desperate counterattacks. Every assumption they relied on crumbled under human foresight. The fleet anticipated every vector, neutralized every threat, and transformed chaos into order. Humanity was no longer prey, it was the architect of inevitability, enforcing survival, ensuring safety for those it protected, and delivering calculated justice to those who dared challenge it. The refugees, observing from arc ships hidden within the fleet, whispered in awe. They had called for help, hoping for sanctuary. Instead, they witnessed mastery, intellect, instinct, and moral resolve combined to form a force that could not be resisted. Fear became clarity. Vulnerability became strength. Humanity had returned, not to negotiate, not to beg, but to protect and dominate with unyielding precision. The void shimmered under their presence. Energy arcs, engines, and shields moved in harmony, bending space into a weapon. The aliens had called for aid, they had summoned predators. Humanity had arrived, and the galaxy was learning a lesson it would never forget. The alien fleet faltered under the relentless precision of the human formation. Every attempt at maneuver, every desperate volley, every evasive vector was anticipated, countered, and nullified before it could unfold. Gravity distortions, decoy swarms, and energy pulses moved as extensions of human calculation, bending space itself to ensure that no enemy could find purchase. Dreadnoughts that had once inspired fear now reeled, their engines faltering under strikes they could not predict, their formations shattered by tactics that were invisible until executed. From the flagship's bridge, Commander Hale observed the unfolding battlefield with calm intensity. Crew members moved as extensions of his mind, each instinct honed by centuries of survival, every decision flowing seamlessly into the next. The fleet had become more than steel and energy, it was a single organism of thought, each vessel an extension of human ingenuity and unyielding resolve. The aliens attempted flanking attacks, streaking through void corridors with reckless speed, hoping to find weakness or distraction. Interceptors darted forward, weaving between beams of plasma and fragments of shattered ships with impossible agility. Bombers followed in synchronized waves, striking key systems with surgical precision. One by one, alien ships were corralled, isolated, and dismantled, their formations fractured beyond recognition. Orbital platforms and hidden docks stirred, releasing new ships and drones into the fray. Partially built dreadnoughts glowed with power as swarms of drones completed hull assembly mid-space. Even unfinished, these vessels projected lethal authority, reinforcing the fleet and demonstrating that humanity's ingenuity was inexhaustible. The Deathworlder fleet was not just a weapon, it was an extension of human adaptability, experience, and tactical genius. The battle raged with a rhythm all its own. Plasma arcs collided with shields, engines flared under calculated strikes, and debris spiraled in choreographed arcs across the void. Humanity did not destroy indiscriminately, they enforced inevitability. Alien dreadnoughts found themselves isolated, their retreats anticipated. Their attacks redirected, their courage replaced by fear as their losses mounted. Refugee arc ships drifted safely behind human lines, silent witnesses to a mastery they had only dreamed of. Humans were not merely defending, they were protecting with foresight, guiding survival with intelligence, and imposing control with moral certainty. Every strike, every maneuver, every shielded formation communicated a singular truth: to underestimate humanity was to face inevitable defeat. Even in the rare moments of pause, the human fleet maintained vigilance. Drones repaired stations, recalibrated weapons, and reinforced shields. Nothing was left to chance. Every ship, every crew, every system moved with the awareness that threats were endless. And preparation was eternal. Humanity's endurance, shaped by deathworlds and hardship, had been transformed into a force the galaxy could neither predict nor resist. The alien commanders realized the truth too late. They were no longer predators, they were prey, outmaneuvered, outthought, and outclassed. Their arrogance had been their undoing. The fleet pressed forward steadily, methodically, each maneuver reinforcing the last, each ship moving in perfect harmony with the others. The void itself seemed alive, bending under human intent, shaping attacks, guiding defenses, and asserting control over every inch of space, for the refugees, for the galaxy, for every observer across the stars. The lesson was unmistakable. Humanity had survived extinction, endured worlds designed to destroy them, and returned as a species that commanded inevitability itself. Their enemies would not simply retreat, they would remember. Their strength was not raw power alone, it was intellect, foresight, and an unbreakable will. The stars shimmered as the fleet advanced, engines humming in quiet confidence. Humanity did not merely endure, they orchestrated survival, defended the helpless, and enforced the certainty of their existence. In the emptiness of space, every pulse of energy, every calculated strike, every maneuver spoke one truth: the galaxy could not challenge humans and hope to prevail. The battlefield transformed from chaos into a tense, deliberate rhythm, the void littered with drifting debris and shattered alien hulls, illuminated by the shimmering glow of human shields. Every vessel held its place with precision, engines thrumming like a heartbeat across the darkness. Humanity had not merely survived, they dictated the flow of battle, bending space and expectation alike to ensure that no threat could escape, and no weakness could remain. Commander Hale moved with measured calm across the flagship's bridge, observing holographic displays, adjusting vectors, and acknowledging his crew with silent nods. Victory was not in destruction alone, it was in foresight, control, and readiness. Every vessel radiated purpose, a testament to intelligence, discipline, and the unyielding will to endure. From hidden orbital stations, construction ships deployed partially built dreadnoughts into the formation. Swarms of drones clung to hulls, welding, calibrating, and powering energy cores mid-space. Even incomplete, these vessels projected lethal authority, reinforcing the fleet and signaling to the galaxy that human ingenuity was inexhaustible. The alien invaders had expected prey, they found masters. Bombers and interceptors darted through the debris-strewn void, releasing torpedoes and plasma strikes with surgical accuracy. Every strike was deliberate. Every movement choreographed to ensure maximum effect. Explosions blossomed across the battlefield, arcs of energy illuminating the void like celestial fireworks. The aliens, even in retreat, could not escape the lattice of anticipation and calculation humanity had imposed upon them. Refugee arcships floated safely within the protective perimeter, silent witnesses to a mastery beyond their comprehension. Hope had arrived in the form of intellect, discipline, and moral resolve. Humans did not merely protect, they enforced survival. Vulnerability transformed into strength, fear into clarity. The galaxy was learning that to face humanity was to face inevitability itself. Alien dreadnoughts attempted desperate counterstrikes. But every assault was anticipated, every breach met with decisive retaliation. Centuries of arrogance, conquest, and assumed superiority crumbled under the weight of human foresight. The fleet advanced steadily, methodically, each maneuver reinforcing the last, every ship aligned in perfect harmony. The void seemed to respond, bending with their intent, as if space itself obeyed their command. Even in the rare pauses between attacks, the human fleet maintained vigilance. Drones repaired stations, weapons recalibrated, shields reinforced. Nothing was left to chance. Every movement, every calculation, every decision was deliberate, a demonstration that humanity's strength was enduring. Intelligent and unyielding, the aliens had called for aid. They had summoned masters of survival, predators forged in the crucible of the deadliest worlds. Humanity had answered, demonstrating that they did not merely endure, they commanded, protected, and defined the flow of inevitability across the stars. Above the fleet, stars shimmered against the glow of shields and energy arcs. The humans advanced with quiet confidence, a living testament to intellect, experience, and unbreakable will. Every pulse of power, every calibrated strike, every maneuver spoke one truth: the galaxy could not challenge humanity and hope to prevail. The alien remnants scattered, their formations fractured, their morale shattered. The human fleet held steady, engines pulsing, shields glowing, weapons ready, a quiet testament to control and vigilance. There was no celebration, only the assurance that survival had been enforced and no weakness remained. Orbital drones repaired stations, recalibrated weapons, and guided new vessels into formation. Even the youngest crew understood the scale of human mastery. This was not temporary, not chance, it was enduring, deliberate, and absolute. Every ship, every crew, every system radiated awareness and purpose. Refugees aboard Ark ships whispered in awe. They had hoped for sanctuary, but they received more: certainty. Humanity did not merely defend, they orchestrated survival. Protected the helpless, and demonstrated the intelligence, patience, and moral resolve that had carried them across millennia. The void shimmered with residual energy, reflecting the quiet authority of the fleet. Humanity had imposed order, enforced protection, and left a clear lesson for the galaxy. To challenge them was to invite inevitable defeat. The void had settled into a tense silence, broken only by the quiet hum of human engines and the faint shimmer of active shields. Alien remnants had fled, leaving drifting wreckage, fractured formations, and the lingering glow of human dominance. The fleet maintained formation, vigilant and unyielding, engines pulsing like a heartbeat across the darkness. This was not mere victory, it was a statement of intent. Humanity had survived worlds designed to destroy them, endured predators that could annihilate entire species, and now stood unchallenged in the expanse of the stars. Commander Hale moved across the flagship's bridge, observing systems, adjusting formations, acknowledging crew with measured nods. Every vessel, every crew member, every pulse of energy had performed flawlessly. This was not luck. This was centuries of discipline, strategy honed in the crucible of Deathworlds, and an intelligence tempered by survival. Humanity did not act in haste, they enforced inevitability. Orbital stations glimmered as repair drones swarmed to maintain defenses. Construction ships deployed new dreadnoughts, and interceptors patrolled the edges of the battlefield. Every action spoke of preparation, every vessel radiated control. Humanity's presence was no fleeting miracle, it was eternal, unwavering, and absolute. Refugee Ark ships drifted safely within the protective lines, their passengers silent, eyes wide with awe. Humanity had not merely come to protect, they had ensured survival, demonstrated mastery over strategy, and enforced a moral resolve the galaxy could scarcely comprehend. Every strike, every shielded formation, every carefully orchestrated maneuver carried a lesson: underestimate humans, and the cost is irrevocable. The alien commanders, scattered and broken, had no words, no recourse. Their arrogance had led them to summon the deadliest predators in the galaxy. They had expected aid. They found judgment, precision, and inevitability. The humans had arrived, and the balance of power had shifted irreversibly. Stars shimmered across the shields of the fleet, glinting on hulls polished by survival, reflecting the calm authority of a species that had endured extinction and returned stronger, smarter, and unyielding. Even as the silence of space settled, vigilance remained. Engines thrummed, shields glowed, and every vessel remained ready. Humanity's mastery of strategy, endurance, and moral clarity ensured that any future threat would meet the same inevitability. Commander Hale's gaze swept across the void one final time, noting the steady rhythm of the fleet. He did not need to speak. The fleet, the Ark ships, the drones, they all understood the truth encoded in every movement, every strike, every calculated pause. Humanity had returned, and the galaxy would never underestimate them again. And as the stars sparkled above, the void held its breath for the final time that day, a singular truth echoing through the silence: we endure. We protect. We rise.